Darth Theorist, rise.
What if Darth Maul saved Anakin Skywalker on Mustafar? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Maul slips through the fiery pits of Mustafar, his feet sinking into the dirt while the hot air brushes against his face. He pulls his hood tighter to protect himself as he searches for his target. Glancing warily from side to side to make sure his master isn't there, he continues to press deeper, heading out into the open while keeping his lightsaber close. The air is almost blinding, but the Force swirls around him, more powerful than any other spot on this planet. It is raw with emotion, rage, and betrayal, the strength of the dark side. That serves as his guide and pulls him closer towards a lava river where he lays eyes on the burnt-out husk he was looking for. For a moment, Maul fears that he might be dead. However, as the figure stirs weakly, his burnt chest rises and falls slowly. The Sith warrior grabs the figure with his robotic hand. He is too delirious to resist and continues to mutter the same phrase over and over again.
I hate you.
Maul ignores it and drags the young Jedi to his ship just as he sees another vessel approaching. It has the markings of the Chancellor's personal shuttle. He quickens his pace, but allows himself a small smile. If he cannot defeat his master, he may at least deny him his prize. Anakin has little memory of what happens next. The last thing he remembers is the fires consuming his body, and he fully expected to die. And yet, when he opens his eyes, he finds himself in a medical chamber. It isn't the state-of-the-art medical labs the Chancellor has, but a grim, dreary place that looks like it could double as a torture chamber. When he tries to breathe, he's surprised to feel a mechanical rasp coming from his mouth. When he stands, he feels the faint creak of the arms as he sits up.
You best take it easy, young one. Your strength is not back yet.
You?
Yes. Though, is that the tone you should be taking with your savior?
Savior?
You don't remember. Your master left you for dead. He left you on that burning rock to burn. The only reason you didn't is because I dragged you out of that fire pit.
Vague memories flash across Anakin's mind. His duel with Obi-Wan and his attempt to jump, and the searing pain that followed.
Why? Because we share the same opponent. And now we share the same philosophy of the Force. There is no reason for one so similar to be opponents.
I am nothing like you.
Is that so? Because it seems we were both led astray by the same man, promised power and influence, and then left to die when we failed him. I think we are more similar than you realize. But if that is not enough to convince you, what about this? I am the only reason you are alive.
He offers Anakin a datapad, which begins to show off all the damages he sustained over his fight and the modifications he had made to fix him. He had retrofitted respirators and robotic limbs over an old suit of Mandalorian armor to repair the worst of it. This will allow him to walk and fight despite the restrictions on him. All of this was done thanks to Maul's connection to the Shadow Collective. This gives him access to their equipment and resources. Even now, they are on Pike, on a space station. When Anakin gazes at him, his face is now fully covered by a Mandalorian helmet, painted black. His fingers curl into fists, his emotions roil within himself. The power he has within himself, although diminished, whirls and prepares to unleash. The whole room begins to shake, and tools rattle on the table. A medical droid looks around nervously as the control panel nearby begins to spark. Anakin's head is slumped low, but he begins lifting up as his body quivers with fury. Maul places a steadying hand on him and shakes his head.
Your anger is wasted here. Unleashing it will change nothing. But the proposition I offer you might.
What do you want?
I want what any Sith wants. To fulfill their destiny and kill their master. Sidious has taken everything from me. My family, my empire, and my pride. I intend to repay him for that kindness. Not to mention what I intend to do to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And you think I'll just turn against them? They were both still my friends and masters, much less with the likes of you.
Indeed I do. Because I offer you something they cannot. A chance to reverse your condition. I can make you whole again. Better, even.
You lie. Even Palpatine could not do that.
Our master is not as strong as you might believe. It is why he needs someone like you. Someone to enforce his will. But as for me, I do not draw my power solely from the Force. I follow a technique older and just as powerful, the magics of the Night Sister. My mother made me anew in a cave with a box of scraps. With the right tools, I can take that kindness and pay it forward.
Anakin hesitates, watching Maul move. He had to admit his survival was nothing short of miraculous. It was no accident that the Sith was able to pull through, a feat even Palpatine couldn't manage. He had hoped to overthrow Palpatine when this all blew over, so it is not as if anything changed either. It would simply be a matter of how he goes about it. Anakin does not answer right away, not until he sends one of Maul's men to investigate what happened to Padme. And when the man comes back, he comes bearing ill news. The senator had passed away shortly after giving birth. This time, Anakin does not manage to contain his emotions. Maul can only move back and stare as the rage comes flowing out like a shockwave. Chunks of durasteel are ripped from the ground while machines shatter and overload from the explosion. Even Maul is thrown off balance while the man who reported this is crushed by some debris. When Anakin calms down, he stands over the ruins of this room, everything reduced to rubble. But Maul still approaches, without fear, but understanding in his eyes.
Palpatine took this from you. Make no mistake on that. He could have saved your beloved at any time, but refused. Obi-Wan could have listened to you and offered his help like a friend. But in the end, did they? No. Then they are your foes. What do you say to that? I will help you destroy them.
A smile forms on Maul's face as he hears this. That is all he needs from this. Slowly, he rises to his feet and offers his hand. Rather than strike out openly like the CIS, Maul and Anakin keep hidden and use the Shadow Collective as it was intended, as a dagger in the dark. Though Palpatine might claim his empire is the greatest force in the galaxy, it is still in its infancy, while Maul's criminal allies have been there for far longer. The spice trade and smuggling operations continue, but so do efforts to fund the enemies of the Empire. Many rebel cells are eager to fight Palpatine and turn to the black market for equipment. This is where the Black Sun, Pikes, and Crimson Dawn come in to offer them weapons. Anakin and Maul help oversee these efforts, ensuring the CIS holdouts remain a thorn in the Empire's side and the rebels are adequately armed. However, this is far from their priority, as they know simply soldiers will not be enough to bring down the Empire. They will need more, and Palpatine knows this. These rebels are a distraction, but one he cannot ignore, lest his new government look weak. So while most of the soldiers work to establish control over the Outer Rim and quash these resistance cells, he turns his attention to what matters to Maul. Mandalore is occupied, denying him access to its warriors, even those who remain loyal to him. But that isn't enough. Maul was happy to abandon that planet before. What he isn't willing to abandon is his homeworld of Dathomir, so Palpatine also sends a force to occupy it. Meanwhile, Anakin and Maul continue their training, seeking to learn not just the powers of the Force, but also the magics of Dathomir. While the Night Sisters are no more, their influence lingers on the planet. Books and scrolls are left behind that provide him with information about their magic. From here, Maul begins to study them and understand how to harness their powers. Alongside Anakin, the two reach into the magics still on Dathomir to cast spells. These are simple charms at first, one's aiming to rebuild the old fortress, tame the spirits running rampant within its halls, and prepare it for the coming attacks. At the same time, Anakin tries to get used to his new body. In some ways, it is a downgrade to his old self, as his powers are greatly diminished, and he is no longer as agile as he used to be. The power that remains is focused. As a Jedi, Anakin was always conflicted with what is required of him. Now that he is embracing the dark side, Maul makes it clear that is no longer an option.
Doubt is a tool for the dark side, but it is not something the Sith must have. To embrace doubt is to embrace defeat, Skywalker. You cannot win if you are in conflict with yourself.
To prove his point, he suddenly ignites his saber staff and rushes at him. In a heartbeat, he is upon the Jedi, sweeping his weapon in a blinding slash. Anakin barely manages to halt the attack, and the clash begins. He advances on Anakin, twirling his lightsaber and thrusting the blade at him, nearly taking his head on several occasions. The young Sith sidesteps and blocks each attack before forcing Maul back. Yet, just as he is about to press his offensive, the Night Brother thrusts his hand out, and a burst of memories flash across Anakin. He nearly falls to his knees as a series of memories play across his mind. The image of Padme, the same ones Palpatine used to corrupt him, are now replaying. But instead of visions of what could have been, they are now visions of what was. Anakin's body stiffens as he hesitates on his next swing. The momentary lapse is all Maul needs. The Sith bounds towards him and kicks him with a metallic leg, sending him flying back and crashing to the wall. Maul approaches, but when Anakin raises his weapon to defend himself, he punches him in the stomach.
Your doubt would cost you your life if you let it control you like that again. This is no time for you to hesitate. Those memories have already come to pass. There is nothing you can do about it, no matter how many times you think about it.
His voice falters, becoming rawer as if he were speaking from experience. Then Maul looks away and shakes his head.
All you can do now is ensure that those responsible pay the price. But that requires everything from you. So tell me, young one, are you prepared to give that?
Anakin nods and picks up his lightsaber as he prepares to attack again. For weeks, they continue their training, until at last they get a chance to put it into practice. Soon, lights flash as Imperial gunships descend. Black armored transports descend through the mist, unleashing squads of elite purge troopers, their boots pounding across the blood-red soil. At their head strides an Inquisitor, her crimson blade snapping to life with a hiss. Crosshair moves beside her, his rifle poised, slung on one shoulder.
This place will fall quickly.
Crosshair says nothing. He adjusts his scope and looks for a good vantage point. They advance, slow, careful, until the shadows strike back. Maul explodes from the ruins, a crimson storm, his saber staff whirling with savage grace. Troopers die in droves, cut down before they can fire. Even when they do manage, there is little they can do, as Maul stops and whirls his lightsaber around in a blinding arc. This halts their attack with a wave of the Force, throws these troopers aside. The Inquisitor lunges, her lightsaber slashing at him before spinning to block the counterblow. The second sister advances slowly, and then leaps over his next slash. She scores a kick across the face, but this doesn't slow him down. If anything, it only angers him. When she renews her attack, Maul catches her wrist and throws her against the ruins. She slumps over and stumbles to the ground. As the second sister shakily gets to her knees, she looks up and sees a lightsaber flashing across her neck. Crosshair drops to one knee. His scope locks on Maul's chest. He squeezes the trigger. The Sith warrior senses this and dodges, but the bolt slams into Maul's flank, burning through the flesh and metal. Maul staggers but doesn't stop.
You need to do more than that, clone.
Crosshair doesn't flinch. He lines up another shot. Perfect. Deadly. But another blade cuts through the haze. It slices through his rifle and sends him flying back. Crosshair catches himself on the railing and pulls out his pistol, until he sees his opponent is another Sith. He lifts his helmet up to see his burnt face.
Hello, Crosshair.
Crosshair freezes for a heartbeat, shocked. That moment is all Anakin needs. He moves like a phantom, his saber piercing Crosshair's chest. The sniper collapses, eyes wide with disbelief. The troopers panic. Some flee, others are slaughtered by Maul's spinning blade. They carry the tale to Coruscant. Anakin Skywalker lives and fights at Maul's side. Later, in the fortress's inner chamber, Maul stands with Anakin. Blood seeps from his wound, but a grin curls on his lips.
They know now. Good. Let Sidious choke on the fear that his prize has been stolen.
Fear is not enough. We need power, and fast. With this, Palpatine will attempt to strike back. We need to be prepared for what is to come.
And we will have it. But to channel the magics, we require a vessel. Strong, steeped in our bloodline. One who still bears the mark of Dathomir.
You've already chosen?
Morgan Elsbeth, exile of the Night Sisters. She wields blade and forge both. A warrior, and a key to the Empire's shipyards. The perfect host, and a blow that would leave Palpatine reeling.
They realize now they must act fast, show the Shadow Collective stirs. Black Sun, Pikes, Crimson Dawn, and Mandalorian outcasts all rally to Maul's cause. Whispers spread of a coming raid on Elsbeth's shipyards, and they make sure they hear of it too. The trap springs. Collective fleets hammer the yards in a storm of fire, drawing the Imperial Navy into battle. They strike swift, and the criminals soon take control of major dockyards, prompting the Empire to retaliate. They deploy their own security fleet, far outnumbering the criminals and forcing their ships to scatter. The stormtroopers are sent to the surface in order to retake the shipyards. They fight through the outer defenses and drive off the criminals. Yet, when they rush inside, they find the place nearly empty. Maul and Anakin never meant to seize the yards. That was a distraction, and as the stormtroopers rush inside, the hidden chambers in the facility detonate, taking the shipyards, the security forces, and part of the fleet. All of that leaves the Empire with a bloody nose, and many of their ships are badly damaged. While that happens, the Sith close in on Elsbeth's command spire. She fights with ferocity, her blades a storm of steel and her Beskar spear flashing. She uses its length to hold the pair back. Her Night Sister training serves her well as she keeps them in back. Yet Maul and Anakin attack as one, and with a synchronized strike, they drive her back. With a final clash, she drops to her knees, bound by chains of crimson energy. Maul leans close, voice low and cruel.
Your empire made you a tool, but we will make you a vessel. Through you, the Night Sisters will rise again.
You are mad, trying to rebuild what was lost. There is only one path moving forward.
You speak of survival in the future as if they are one and the same. I do not intend to survive by hiding in the Empire's shadow. I will forge my own path, and you won't get in my way, girl. In fact, you have a critical role in realizing that future.
As they set her on an altar, Maul begins to chant in an ancient tongue. Around her, the runes on the floor begin to glow brightly, and the words on the Night Brothers' lips register in their captive minds. Her eyes widen and she shakes her head.
No, you can't do this to me.
Relax, my sister. You are about to perform the greatest service one can do for their clan.
As he says that, sickly green light explodes from the runes at the floor, and wailing banshees appear from it. Her eyes fix on Morgan and pounce on her. The woman only has to scream as the ghost enters her body. Her eyes glow a sickly pale as her body thrashes violently. It is so serious the two must hold her down for fear she might injure herself. While the clash lasts a few minutes, in the end her fate is decided when Morgan opens her eyes. What they see is the stern gaze of Mother Talzin.
I have returned to this world, all thanks to you, my son.
Mother, I would never leave you behind. Not like this. Now we have our chance to exact our revenge on the Emperor, alongside his former apprentice.
Ah, yes, young Skywalker. I remember you. If revenge is what you seek, I shall aid you on this quest.
While the Empire is reeling from this defeat, the Shadow Collective presses the attack and urges them forward. The destruction of this shipyard puts the entire sector in chaos, as they have no easy way of repairing or replenishing their ships beyond journeying to further away positions. But while they take advantage of the lax defenses, Anakin and Maul search for the next target, Obi-Wan. Unlike Palpatine, who remains in the public eye, their foe made a great effort into disappearing, and there has been almost no word from him since. That means they must force him out into the open, and Maul does this by placing a massive bounty on Obi-Wan's head. As one of the last Jedi, he is worth nearly a fortune, and Maul makes sure everyone knows it. He offers 1,000,000 credits to whomever can provide information about his whereabouts, and another 1,000,000 for anyone who brings his head. Soon, hundreds of bounty hunters take up the mission. They scour the galaxy, searching for any sign of him. Soon enough, some of them manage to pick up the scent. No matter how well Obi-Wan tries to hide his trail, he can never fully hide it, and soon enough, the bounty hunters catch glimpses of him, thanks in part to Talzin, who offers her magics to help narrow down his location. The bounty hunters provide what little information they can, and even bits of Obi-Wan's old belongings. This allows her to track them down to Tatooine. And here the bounty hunters strike. Whether they are in service of Jabba or freelance killers, they explore the countryside and, at last, track him to his hut. Although the Jedi has been hiding for some time, his skills remain as sharp as ever, and those who attack learn that the hard way. Some return battered and mutilated, others do not return at all. He continues to defend his home with surprising effectiveness, but some experienced bounty hunters decide to change tactics. At the end of the day, Obi-Wan is still a Jedi and determined to protect the innocent. The suns dip lower over the Dune Sea, casting long shadows across the moisture farms. Luke plays outside the homestead under Beru's watchful gaze, while Owen works on evaporator. The air hums with the stillness of evening, until speeder bikes roar across the sand. A gang of bounty hunters crests the ridge, armor and weapons glinting in the dying light. They fan out in a semicircle, their leader, Aura Singh. They quickly round up the civilians and gather them in a circle. Rather than hide it, they fire a flare into the sky, letting Obi-Wan know just what is happening. Owen grabs his rifle, but his hands tremble. Aura raises her own blaster and prepares to cut him down, but as she squeezes the trigger, a blue blade ignites between the farmers and their would-be killers to deflect the bolt. Obi-Wan steps from the shadows, his cloak whipping in the wind.
You will not touch them.
The bounty hunters hesitate only a second before opening fire. Obi-Wan moves like water, his movements hardly diminished as his lightsaber flashes in front of him, redirecting bolts and forcing them to scatter. He cuts down 2 in swift strokes, then hurls another across the sand with the Force. Aura tries to flank him, but Obi-Wan anticipates the move and throws her into the dirt. As he approaches, she hurls a smoke grenade and disappears into the chaos. The survivors scatter, but Obi-Wan knows this is only the beginning. More will come. Too many. He turns toward the homestead, where Owen stands pale with fear, Beru clutching Luke tightly.
It isn't safe. My presence endangers you. I must leave, before worse finds its way here.
Owen glares, torn between anger and gratitude, but says nothing. Obi-Wan pulls his hood low, casting one last look at Beru before vanishing into the night. Far away, the galaxy burns. The Shadow Collective strikes deep into Imperial space. Maul's fleet descends on shipyards and supply lines, sowing chaos. And at the heart of it, Anakin reveals himself. Before countless eyes across the holonet, he rips away the mask of his armor and takes a few shaky breaths.
Palpatine used me. He said I died for him. I nearly did. But he didn't care. He used the Jedi, used the Republic, used all of you to seize power. He is no savior. The Jedi were innocent. They were enemies who challenged his chance to take power, and so he had me destroy them. He is the Sith who enslaved this galaxy.
The words spread like wildfire, shaking the foundations of Imperial rule. Anakin speaks the truth, but he knows it changes nothing. The Jedi are all gone, but it makes him appear as the hero, and that is what matters. With that, he continues his strikes, hitting one of the remaining Imperial shipping facilities in the Outer Rim. The guards fall before the assault as Maul and Anakin lead the way, and then the air grows cold. The veil between life and death tears open as Talzin raises her arms. Her magics spill across the battlefield, clawing into the earth. Corpses stir, rusted armor creaks. The dead rise in endless ranks, howling as they march against the living. This is the sight that greets Obi-Wan as he arrives. He knows he cannot keep running, so he instead confronts Maul and cuts this threat off at the head. When he arrives, Maul is there to greet him with a savage grin. The nearest zombies rush to attack Obi-Wan, but the Jedi whirls and cuts them apart, scattering their body parts toward Maul. The Night Brother simply crushes his fist and breaks them to dust. He emerges from the chaos, whirling with his saber staff as Obi-Wan catches him. Anakin steps out, clad head to toe in his armor, but there is no mistaking him. Obi-Wan feels a chill run through his body as he stares at his former friend, gripping his lightsaber tightly. When the time comes to attack, the two clash in a storm of blades, each strike sparking with memory. This time, there is no controlling the young Sith, who snarls and presses him forward. He throws Obi-Wan back and rains down attacks on him. The former Jedi can only try and block these attacks in vain, unable or perhaps unwilling to attack. When a savage blow rattles his arm, he glances past his weapon to Anakin. For a moment, he sees the young man he had helped raise as a Jedi, and his resolve wavers. The next strike comes, but he barely manages to deflect it and push it aside. He tries to counter with another slash, but Anakin punches him across the face and sends him to his knees.
Anakin, stop this. It's not too late. You're stronger than him. Stronger than Maul. Stronger than all of this.
For a moment, Anakin falters. His blade trembles. The memory of Padme, of friendship, of brotherhood, flickers in his mind. And yet, he also recalls the betrayal he felt when Obi-Wan left him, when he turned Padme against him. Anakin's helmet tilts, his breath rasping. Obi-Wan's saber lowers just slightly, hope glimmering in his eyes. Anakin springs forward and shoves Obi-Wan back, forcing him to arc back and defend his strike. His eyes widen as his former apprentice looms over him.
Then why didn't you save her?
He swings again, and Obi-Wan tries to defend. But when he looks into his student's eyes, he sees only hatred. Steeling himself, he prepares to strike him down. Just as Anakin swings, Obi-Wan ducks and slices at his waist. Anakin hisses in pain, but finds Obi-Wan raining attacks down on him. Now, he fully commits to defeating him and tries to behead him. The Sith ducks underneath and pushes another blow aside. This is where the former Jedi throws debris at him. One of them grazes Anakin's cheek, but he manages to avoid the others and strike low. The strike is swift, and Obi-Wan crumples.
You are my brother.
Anakin stands over him, silent, trembling.
Good, young one. Now we can make you anew.
She moves beside him and begins chanting in a tongue older than Sith. Green fire envelops Anakin, searing the twisted armor away, restoring flesh where metal once ruled. His body straightens, his breath frees, and for the first time since Mustafar, Anakin Skywalker is whole. The galaxy trembles with this victory. Not just the attack itself, but the use of dark magic to summon the dead. Footage showing the undead stormtroopers tearing through the Imperial soldiers now appears all across the holonet. The destruction of the Imperial shipyards sends shockwaves throughout the core and outer rim alike. Shipments stall, fleets falter, and the once unstoppable war machine grinds. Palpatine branded himself the guarantor of peace and security, but the Senate now openly questions this. If the Emperor cannot protect them, then what good is the Empire? Bail seizes the opportunity and calls for elections, for the people to choose who they want protecting them. While he can normally rely on the military to protect him, in this case they are nowhere to be seen, as many see blood in the water and the opportunity to burnish their own reputations. Rumors of treachery run rampant. Some whisper of a coup, others of government hoarding resources, waiting for the Emperor's downfall. Even loyal Moffs question his grip. Palpatine feels it. His popularity fractures, his control slipping like sand through his fingers. He tries to think of a new plan and decides to regroup with some trustworthy forces and prepares to depart in secret. He retreats to his private hangar, his hood drawn low.
Ready the shuttle. We leave Coruscant immediately.
The ramp lowers, shadows spilling from the craft. Palpatine climbs aboard, every sense sharpened. And that is why when he enters, he immediately senses a change in the Force. Anakin stares at him from the cockpit, eyes burning with a fire Palpatine thought extinguished forever. Worse, he looks even more powerful than ever, as the fires of Mustafar haven't harmed him.
You took everything from me. Padme, Obi-Wan, my future, all of it, for your throne.
You ungrateful wretch. I gave you power.
From the shadows, another voice cuts through, cold and sharp.
And I will take it back.
Maul emerges from the co-pilot's chair, his saber staff igniting in a blaze of crimson. Before Palpatine can unleash his lightning, a ripple of green flame engulfs the hangar doors. Talzin steps forward, her hands waving patterns of ancient magic, cutting off any escape.
You are surrounded, Sidious, by your greatest failures.
Cursing, Palpatine unleashes a burst of lightning that forces the two Sith warriors into the defensive. They block the strike just as Talzin fires a ghostly dagger from the rear. Hissing, Palpatine shatters it with his lightsaber. In this span of a heartbeat, all three are upon him. The Chancellor has no choice but to weave through their attacks and dodge their blows. He sprints forward, sliding under the attack, sliding against it, then parries a lightning strike from Talzin. He turns just as Anakin comes sprinting at him, lightsaber flashing. Their weapons clash 3 times, but he catches them each time and pulls back from the battle, only to run into Maul, who tries to cut him down. Palpatine hurls his cloak in front of him, using it as a distraction to tangle up Maul, and thrusts his lightsaber through. The blade injures the warrior, but doesn't stop him as he barrels forward. Cursing, the Emperor tries to overwhelm him with attacks, but Talzin's spell slows him, vines of spirit energy wrapping his limbs. Maul counters with vicious strikes, pressing the Emperor's defense until it throws Palpatine back across the room and hits the ground. Anakin drives with a storm of blows that forces Sidious to yield ground, but when he raises his saber to strike, the Sith moves low and cuts his leg off. As Palpatine falls, the others join him. Maul's saber staff cuts low, Talzin's magic bind him in place, and Anakin's blade drives through Palpatine's chest. The Emperor's scream rips across the Force, then dies in silence. The body slumps. Smoke fills the cabin. For the first time in decades, the Sith Master is gone.
At last, the galaxy is free of him, and ours for the taking.
Bail tries to reorganize the Empire and retake control. And in the ensuing political turmoil, Maul and Anakin carve out their coalition in the Outer Rim. They gather the weapons left behind by the Empire and begin forming a proper army, while Talzin turns Dathomir into their capital, rebuilding the Night Sisters. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.